Hey, socializing with friends, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here. Finally, socializing with more people, which is a good thing. But anyways, today I'm going to be doing my second review of the day, and that would be an album review, and that would be the latest Nanoray album, Nurse 2, which is actually a sequel to Nurse. So, Nanoray is an artist, an hardcore breaks electronic artist from Nebraska whom I've only heard of earlier this year when he released, I think it's he, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. When he released Zapper earlier this year, and oh my god, Zapper has got to be one of the most underrated albums of 2021 so far. I recommend every single person, especially if you're a music lover, to check Zapper out. Zapper is a fantastic hardcore breaks album. I never really expected myself to enjoy a hardcore breaks album this much, but Zapper proved me wrong. Zapper is amazing, from the very cutesy and futuristic and bright and strange album opener, the grinding noises and fun synths on the next track that is Neko Mata. Also, the track Salmon Cannon Deluxe has grown on me so much so that now it's become one of my most listened to tracks of the year. It slaps so freaking hard. The layered vocal sort of delaying and cascading off of one another, the crazy, noisy, grinding sounds that come after that part, and also the track Hell Runner is just such a freaking banger when the break beats suddenly let loose and explode, and it's just freely going wild. It's honestly one of the highlights on Zapper for me. So anyways, Nanoray has released his second album this year, that is Nurse 2, and naturally I come with a high expectation. So yeah, I am kind of disappointed, I guess. Nurse 2 definitely isn't as good as Zapper in my opinion. A lot of the tracks on this album kind of pale in comparison to the tracks off of Zapper, in that the tracks in Zapper are way brighter, way more intense and colorful, while this one is a little bit more tamed. It's a little bit more regular and average sounding. The album opener Crossing is a spacey atmospheric intros with runny chimes and sparse beats, and it sounds pretty good for the most part, except it really doesn't build up to anything other than the second track, which is called Zombie, which is, in my opinion, kind of dry, and it's very scratchy and fast and noisy, which is cool, but it doesn't have that flavor that I really like when it comes to fast, noisy, scratchy, hardcore breaks music. So unfortunately, it just isn't that memorable for me. And then we have the track Teka, and Teka is the probably my favorite track on the entire album, where it really has a horror movie flavor to it. And that's also kind of a running trend for this album because of the kind of thriller, horror flavored album cover. It is pretty normal to expect that the music itself is also going to dabble a little bit into some horror flavored music, and Teka does exactly just that with a very memorable melody loop, dun 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 dun, and then we have the very noisy beat sort of riding on top of that, and it's just very runny, very smooth, and very enjoyable, and very flavorful as well. And the next track, 428, is also very enjoyable. We have this very prominent beat loop, bum 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 bum, and it's just constantly looping and looping and looping. And then on top of that, we have these very skippy, crispy drum sounds that just keeps popping off like popcorn in a microwave. And then these squealing alarm samples, just dan, 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 and the whole thing is just a harmony of noise. It's pretty awesome, actually. And then we have the track New Face, which is rather mid-paced and dry. It has these tongue-in-cheek vocal samples, which is kind of cutesy, but overall the track is just kind of clunky and not in a very fun way or anything. The track Phobos is another low point in the album for me, where the track is just kind of an average cut. It just doesn't sound all that special or anything. It's just kind of average when it comes to Nanoray's music. You know, spacey and futuristic chords, breakbeats, that's it. dotGOV is easily the most hard-hitting track on the entire album. It slaps super hard. It's extremely noisy. We have these grinding, deteriorating sounds matched with some sour synths and also an anime girl yelling before the drop. And yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. We have the track 8, EIT, and it's kind of average. And also this dun 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 dun, this loop has kind of returned in a slightly different form on this track, and it just sounds a little bit more tired and a little bit more exhausted, and it's just not really all that great. And the album ends off with U-Turn, which is sort of this atmospheric, almost cyberpunk flavored ending where we have these constant slow-paced beats and also these soft, calming, relaxing synths, which really heavily reminds me of Miami Nights for some reason, and because it really does sound like Miami Nights. So yeah, while U-Turn is kind of derivative of Miami Nights and that flavor and that kind of music, I still find it enjoyable, and I think it's a pretty solid ending to the album. But still, overall, I must say Nurse 2 is not as good as Zapper. A lot of the tracks here just feel kinda average, unfortunately, but the highlights do shine out for me nonetheless. My favorite track on this album is Teka, and my least favorite is Phobos. I'm giving Nanoray's Nurse 2 a 6 out of 10. So, have you listened to Nanoray's Nurse 2 from 1 to 10? How much you rate it? Like it, and subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. Tomorrow, I will be reviewing the latest spelling album, The Turning Wheel.